Welcome back.
Welcome,
man, to episode 6, man. We're already on episode 6, bro. That's crazy.
That's insane, bro. It seems like we just started with season 2, bro.
I know. That's probably because we did just start. Like,
Literally.
Oh, man. But no, bro. Like, even though, like, it feels like we've been doing this forever, low-key. Like, it feels like it was yesterday because it kind of was, but, like, also, like, it feels like it's been forever because, like, I just love doing this with you, bro.
Me too, like, bro. I told you, like, this is an answered prayer for me, bro. I always wanted to be on something like this where I could just talk about just the different things going on in the world and just as a Christian and from, like, you know, just a regular perspective, bro, for sure. You're a blessing to me, bro.
You're a blessing to me.
You're a blessing to me, man.
Man, we're not going to do this right now. We do this all the time, man.
I know. Let's
real quick, before we get started, I do want to highlight, for those of you who are watching on the YouTube channel, you see this shirt, bro. You know where this is from? You know where this is from, bro?
That shirt is too clean, bro. Where is it from?
I'm going to tell you where it's from. This is from gpclothes.com, bro. And you know who that is? That is our unofficial official sponsor for MPower, bro. And y'all gotta check this out, man. You see this shirt? It says,
wait, y'all don't have the shirt already?
Wait, yeah, hold on. Wait a minute. Y'all don't realize that you can get 15% off of this shirt if you use our promo code MPower when you
15.
Yeah, 15%. That's crazy. You see, it says back in time. I'm describing it for those of you who aren't watching but are listening. It says, back in time on the front. And I'm gonna actually turn around a little bit, you know, get some. You know what I'm saying? It basically, it's a shirt basically talking about how, like, you want to reminisce on, like, the old times, like when you were a kid, and, you know, because growing up, it can kind of suck sometimes, you know? So,
facts.
Sometimes. Other times it's pretty cool. But, yeah, it's basically like a reminiscent shirt. It's really dope. It's nice and simple. But, like, you see, you can style it with things. You know, I got my little trucker hat, my little dad hat or whatever. Got myself with the gold chain, the Cuban on.
It's a fit.
Know, you can style it. So I highly encourage you guys to check it out. Definitely go cop it. And go check out, like, GP Clothes' other, like, you know, merch, other clothes and stuff like that, because they're dropping. They actually just dropped something new with the contest winner. So you guys should definitely check it out. It's good stuff. Use our promo code, please. Like,
please.
I know you want to go shopping later today anyways. Go check out the store. And please use the promo code so we can get money off of it, bro. Come on now.
Please. We don't need it, but we need it.
We kind of
do.
But we can be honest with you, bro. Like
honesty.
I gotta make rent next week, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, anyway. Let me know.
I'm a full sale student. That's all I need to say.
Yeah. He's going through it right now. Come on, man.
But God is good.
God is good. Amen. All right, bro. So, without further ado, we're not going to beat that. You know, it's already dead. But we have a very great topic to get into today. I mean, we always do. I feel like I say that every episode because everything that we talk about is stuff that's important and stuff that, you know, is on my heart. So, you ready for it?
I'm ready, bro.
Are you guys ready for it?
They're ready for it. They're ready for it, bro.
I think that was a yes. I heard a yes. So, I'm going to take it back. We're going to take it back to, I think, was at least a year ago, maybe even more. And I hate that I have to start it out by saying this, but I was on TikTok. I was on the TikToks, the tickiest of talks, the clickiest of clocks. I was on that. You know, and, you know, I'm scrolling. My For You page is goated, by the way. I got fire content on my For You page. Like,
I still need to get TikTok, bro.
I'm not
do I need to?
I'm not going to tell you to. But, you know, like, because it can definitely be an experience, you know. But it can also be cool. It can also be dope, depending on how you use it, how much you use it, you know, and how easily triggered you get. But, yeah. So I was on TikTok, bro. And scrolling through the For You page or whatever, you might see a dance or two. No, I'm kidding. I don't got no dances on my For You page because I'm actually cool. But I come across this video. Some of you might know what I'm about to refer to. Some of you might be lost. Maybe all of you are lost. I don't know. I come across this video and it's this dude. No homo to you, bro, but this man is gorgeous. Like, this man is like,
I remember the video, bro. I remember the video.
But you said you didn't even watch the video. What are you talking about?
You showed me
I did just show
just pretend.
We're gonna pretend like, yeah. Nah, bro, like, this man was beautiful, man. And he was a native African, and all he was doing this whole video was just eating some chocolate. That's it. Like, and I think there's some music playing in the background, you know, but ultimately he was just eating chocolate. And, you know, I was like, huh, that's cool. Swipe, you know, and as I do. But then I continually start to like see this guy more and more until he eventually like dominates my For You page, because all these like little reaction videos, there'll be stitches, there'll be duets, and you know how TikTok works. Or maybe you don't, since you say you're not on it. But, you know, all these people are talking about this dude. And what I come to realize is they're like worshiping this man. They're like, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, you're ethereal, you look godlike, you're like everything, like I would die for you, like all types of weird stuff, bro.
That's extreme. Yeah.
Like you don't think that, like, that's weird, right?
Strange.
Like,
yeah.
And so we don't even do that for Michael B. Jordan, bro. Like, at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some like some crazy people out there, you know, they'll be whatever, but like I'm telling you, bro, the way that they were worshiping this man, like, it was weird. They were like fetishizing. Dang it, hold on. I'm gonna get this right. Fetishizing. I don't know.
Fetishing?
One of y'all.
That doesn't sound right.
Fetishization, right. Something like that. Yeah.
Fantasize. Never.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying. You know what we're getting at. They were doing that to this dude, and it was weird. And so I started thinking to myself, why? Like, obviously he's beautiful, but we've all seen beautiful people, and they weren't reacting like regularly. Like, you see a, you know, bad shorty or whatever down the street, like, yo, that's crazy, bro. But like, it wasn't like that. It was like next level type stuff. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you. Oh yeah, bro, for sure. Yeah.
Nah,
we're like, dudes, bro.
We're dudes, but we're respectful.
Respectful, right?
Christian,
men of
God. You know, there's a difference.
Yeah.
But we know how we react, you know, it's like, that's crazy, bro. But they were taking it a step further, and so I'm starting like, why were they doing that? And then eventually it dawned upon me, and this is where we'll like start to get into this conversation. I was just like, this man is a native African. And for a lot of people out there, especially in this TikTok huge community or whatever, worldwide, a lot of people don't expect to see a beautiful native African. Here's what they expect to see. They expect to see like some of like gaps in his teeth, or like maybe even a deformed face, like super skinny because like, oh, like, this is a stereotype, like they haven't, you know, eaten like days or whatever. Like all these terrible stereotypes, like that's what a lot of people expect to see when you naturally like bring up the topic of like a native African, or like you'll see him on TV or whatever. And this is where I kind of want to like start to ask you and stuff, but like, this is why representation matters, because when you realize that it's not the standard, but it should be for a lot of people, then it's just like, wow, like this is how you see like their people, like this is how you see them. So like, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, I think it's you hit every point, man. I think it's two main problems. I'm just basically going to be summarizing what you said. Like, number one, representation, the way that people and nationalities are represented. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it goes back to stereotypes. A little bit of what we were talking about in the last episode, which you need to check out if you haven't seen it already.
Definitely do that.
But basically, it's in a way, it reminds me of stereotypes, like, the typical black thug who can't read, doesn't have an education. You know what I'm saying? Or even good stereotypes, like, all Asians are like, you know, good with computers and everything like that, like those terrible stereotypes and things like that. But it's kind of like someone from, name a country, random country.
Uganda.
I don't
know why that came to mind.
That is a random country. But someone from Uganda coming to the United States, and every person they go up and talk to, they try to do it in a country accent, because they think, oh, America, they're just, you know, just country people, you know, farmland, but that's not, you know, America. There's different nationalities, there's different types of people, but to that, in this fictional scenario, that Ugandan person, they were misrepresented, or they had the wrong representation of who people in America are. Right. And I think that's the problem when it comes to different nationalities, especially like the guy on TikTok. It's like his people and his nationality was misrepresented, and people only saw one side of a group of people. Like, oh, Africans, just like you said, skinny, starving, not having enough to eat. And then when they see, if you expect something and then you see something different, you're going to be shocked.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And obviously, like, we don't know what specific country this guy was from, because, like, obviously Africa isn't a country. But, like, in general, I feel like that's how people view a lot of, like, Native Africans in general. And it's, like, so sad because, like, the representation is so off from what we're exposed to. And what I realized is, like, these people, they had great intentions. They were complimenting him. They didn't say anything bad, but, like, something that was meant with good intention, something that was meant for, being uplifting, ended up just being plain discriminatory.
And that's because I think 99.9% of the times, these backhanded compliments are not even intentional. Like, I think for us, for the most part, if someone gives you a backhanded compliment, they don't have malintentions. They don't have bad intentions. It's just things that are just built into their head. You know what I'm saying? I remember, for me, I'm not going to call any names or anything like that, but in my last, relationship, last year, it was someone of a different ethnicity. You know what I'm saying?
You get multicultural.
You know what I'm saying? A different ethnicity. And, we dated for a little bit, but when her parents met me, it was a little strange. I mean, they loved me, but at the same time, it was more like, wow, like, you are in school and getting an education and you love what you do and the way you talk, like, you respect women, you respect my daughter. It's like, they weren't saying those things, but to me, it was just kind of like, because at first I was like, wow, like, I'm really making a good impression. And then I was like, wait, yeah, like, of course I'm into those things. And the heart was completely and totally right. Like, they genuinely, but it's like the way that they saw, in this scenario, African-American males, the way that they saw that group of people was like, oh, I don't expect this from them. I don't expect them to, have a job, know what they're doing, have a passion, be in school, be in film. I don't expect that. And then when you meet somebody that breaks those expectations, you're not just going to compliment, you're going to over compliment, because it's like, wow, I did not know that, this, existed. I've been, in a way, I've actually handed backhanded compliments to other people.
Oh, I'm
as
sure
well, unintentionally.
Yeah, no, and it's like, it's so crazy because, like, your surprise, like, you being so shocked could be something so derogatory to somebody else.
Absolutely.
And like, it's like, that's why we really have to be careful and intentional about the things that we say. We gotta put thoughts behind our actions as well, because I try to be really humble about this. Like, I don't like bringing it up a lot, but like, it's also a part of who I am. So, I feel free to discuss it for the sake of this conversation. But like, I mean, right next to me is my graduation cap with all my, like, awards and stuff, my valedictorian medal, in the middle. But like, people only see like that side of it, but they don't know what I had to go through to get there. Because I was the first Black valedictorian of my high school. And even they didn't even want to tell me that, actually. Wow. Like, I found out the day of graduation. I was like, oh, like, I kind of figured, just because, like, knowing my school's demographic and like the area, but like, I didn't really want to assume. But like, when I found that, I was like, that's crazy. But what I realized and what I started remembering is, like, along the whole way, like all 4 years of high school, like, yeah, I had people building me up, but a lot of the times it was stuff like, wow, like, you're different from the rest of them. Like, they thought I was gonna be valedictorian because it's like, I've never seen a Black man work so hard before. And I'm just like, bro, like, I'm not the only one. Like, I'm like, there's a lot more people with the drive and the passion, but you don't want to invest into them because maybe they talk a different way, or maybe they dress a different way. So your preconceived notions have completely blocked out any chance of them being as successful as I was in that area, because you had those stereotypes towards them. And like, that's such an issue, because along the whole way, I would get lots of like, being, just open with you, lots of like old white people who would, I would develop closer relationships with them, but over time I would realize it was because they viewed me as like that token black guy, that token black student. He's like,
Yeah.
he's gonna make our school look good, you know, especially with diversity and all that sort of stuff. Like, and he's like, you know, making these good grades. Like, I got invited to speak at this company meeting, and it was between me and this one white friend that I had. And honestly, we were pretty neck and neck as far as like grades. Like, there was nothing really like different about us two. Like, we were pretty much equal in that sort of way. But I feel like, and I'm not gonna say this as fact, but we both kind of joke about this sometimes. It's like the reason like they pick me is for diversity reasons, because it's like, oh, he's different, so this is really gonna, you know, encourage investors to keep investing into our program. Because have you seen a black man that works this hard before and has the types of stats that this guy has? Like, you know, this is school we're talking about. It's just like, bro, like, representation matters. Like, there are people of all races, all backgrounds, who, you know, are smart or work hard and, you know, have dreams and stuff. And like, I kind of just had to, like, it sucks to say, but I had to swallow my pride, and I had to swallow like those, you know, prejudgments that were made over me, and I just kind of had to use them to my advantage all 4 years of high school.
Absolutely.
In order to, like, you know, succeed and eventually get to that point. Because obviously, like, in this world, us as black men, like, you know, there are going to be things that are placed over us, but sometimes you kind of just have to use those to your advantage, and then, you know, play into the system to be able to get to where you want to be. It's like, it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because we're all people, and, you know, we all have opportunities that we want to earn. We all have things that we want to do. We all have goals and dreams that we want to pursue. And we should, just like you said, we shouldn't have to play a game to get there.
Right.
We shouldn't have to do that. And you didn't do that, man. I mean, you worked hard and you earned, you know, what you had. It's just, at the same time, it's like, it does suck that there were those, in a way, like, stereotypes.
I
You know what I'm saying?
had to be friendly with people who unintentionally were degrading me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And it's just, you know, the way that I think the biggest way to fix the issue, because 99.9% of the time, again, it's not intentional at all.
Right. But like,
and
that can't be used as an excuse at the same time.
Absolutely.
Like, we have to be intentional about our actions.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the biggest way to fix that is to just, and it's hard, break down every single stereotype. Every stereotype, just throw it out the door. Because I'm realizing this too. You can meet people without actually meeting people.
Wow.
And in a way, it's like, I will never forget this. So my aunt, love her to death. I hope she's watching this. But
Hey, aunt.
she was
Hey, auntie, you
she,
remember that?
yeah. She was telling me about this. This is actually pretty sad though. She was telling me about this this coworker that she met online for 8 years. They had like this business relationship for 8 years, and her coworker was out of town, and they were talking and everything like that, and it was time for her to come in town for some business things. And this whole relationship, just cordial, you know what I'm saying? Just like, wow, like, yeah, you're doing really good. You know, my aunt is African American, coworker is Caucasian. And when I'm, by saying the race, I am not in any way putting an image on a race. You know what I'm saying? I'm just for the sake of this,
Just being real.
just being real about what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the coworker flies in, and when they meet, the coworker immediately changes because
Wow, after 8 years, you said?
after 8 years they met, and she completely degraded her and switched up on her because she didn't know she was black. And that's a scenario where it's like, you look at someone and you judge them differently because of expectations that you put on that person.
Right. Like, she didn't think, wow, like, I didn't realize like a black person could be this cordial, you know? And so that made her uncomfortable because of her preconceived notions. And so it's like, rather than even giving her a backhanded, in a way, she kind of complimented her, because she realizes like, oh wow, like, she's like really like cordial, but at the same time, then you go and insult her. So it's like, there's the backhand part of that, you know?
Absolutely. And it's just like, and then here's another thing that happened too, bro. Like, when it comes to knowing somebody before you actually know them, you know what I'm saying? There can be instances. Let's say you have a Hispanic guy going in for an interview, right? And the interviewee knows that they're Hispanic, knows that they're doing this and doing that, and before they even meet, sometimes it sucks, but there's this preconceived notion that it's like, oh, they're Hispanic, so this, and that. Or they may not show up on time. Or they might be, you hear this one a lot, like they might be too loud or something like that. So let's everybody just quiet down, we won't be able to hear them. And then when that Hispanic person comes to meet the interviewee, and they're the exact opposite, cordial, friendly. It's just like, oh, wow, you are so-and-so and so. Nice to meet you. And it's just like
that reaction. How do you think that makes people feel, bro?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Because I think another sad part about this too is that sometimes people don't even notice. It took me a long time to realize some of the backhanded compliments I was getting. You know what I'm saying? And I just think another way to avoid backhanded compliments, just simple as this, just treat people like you treat anybody else.
Right.
Anybody else.
It's like, how messed up of a society do we live in to the point where we can be getting degraded and not even realizing it because it's so widely accepted, it's so widespread. Like, that's insane to me. And like I said, like we were talking about earlier, like representation matters. Like, that's how we fix like this. In one way, we got to be intentional about everything that we do, but representation in like media, what we see on TV and movies and all that sort of stuff, in music, like that stuff matters, because what we see on that, so we have such a huge platform with that especially the younger generations, they're going to start to see themselves in that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's why we have to make sure, like, us, like right now, who want to be like future, like, movie producers and like directors, or like making music videos, all sorts of stuff, like we have to make sure that we change that for the future, so that way these younger generations can be finally empowered and start to realize, like, hey, like, I'm not this, like what everyone was saying before, like I'm actually, I can be strong, I can be powerful, and all these sorts of things. And like Pixar is one specific area that I really want to talk about in that, because this is actually starting to gain a little bit more traction, just in the general community. Like, people are starting to call out Pixar and their representation issues. Like, now don't get me wrong, they're doing lots of great stuff recently. Like, did you ever see Raya the Last Dragon?
No, I didn't.
That movie was fire.
I know, bro. There's so many movies I need to see.
Jump was gas, bro. It was so good. Probably a top 3 for me. Top 3 well, then again, I do have nostalgia, so I love my Toy Stories and all that stuff.
Of course. Did you see the new Lightyear trailer, bro?
Oh my, that looks
crazy, bro.
I'm sorry. Let's talk about that for a second. At the time of this recording, the Lightyear trailer, I think, dropped yesterday, right?
It did.
Bro,
2 days ago. 2 days ago. 2 days ago, yeah.
Bro, that junk looks so fire. I'm like, literally, Pixar, take my money that I don't even have. Just take it right now.
Please, I'll pay for a ticket now. Bro, no, the thing is, bro, it almost got me as excited as the new Spider-Man coming out.
Right.
But like, I saw the first opening shot. I'm like, is this a live action Lightyear movie? And I'm like, wait, dude, this is animated?
Bro, the animation is so crisp on it.
It's too crazy.
Bro, but basically, getting back on topic, so I'm sorry, we had to talk about that for a second.
Just for a second, yeah.
But like, Pixar's doing a great job, like getting people from different parts of the world, like whether it be Southeastern Asia or like, excuse me, we had like Moana, so that was like a Samoan type film, like different areas, like that's cool and all. The girls need their little Disney princesses from different areas, but one specific problem that a lot of people are starting to have with Pixar is anytime they have a Black Pixar film, like you have Princess and the Frog, or you have Soul, which is one of my favorite Pixar films still, even though it has its issues that we're about to talk about. It's still one of my favorites, because like the message was just like, this isn't a kid's film, like this is an adult film, like this is beautiful, made me reflect. But the problem that a lot of people have been having is like, anytime they have a Black Pixar film, they won't be human for the majority of the film. And like, at first glance, you're just like, why does that matter? Like, I'm pretty sure there have been other Pixar films that are like non-Black and they've been like turned into animals or something like that. But like, there's never been a Pixar film where the main character has been human for 100% of the time. And at first it's like, okay, why does that matter? But then you start.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Like, any initial thoughts on that? Like, or you want me to like keep
keep going. Okay, so where you're going with this.
Yeah, and so like at first it's like it's not a big deal, but then you kind of get to a point where it's just like, do they see us as human? You know, like it's like a subconscious thing. Because when you don't see, like, you're basically telling me, like in Soul, for an example, I think he was like, if I remember correctly, I think he was a dog at one point. Like for a majority of the movie, he was like a soul, like a little Pillsbury Dough looking thing or whatever. Oh no, I think he was a cat after he put his soul into like a thing. But it's just like, you guys see us as like animals or whatever. Like Princess and the Frog, like they were frogs for a majority of the film. Like what are they, amphibians or something? I don't know my biology, but like the point is, it's like they were less than human for a majority of the film. It's like, while they had great messages and they were still beautiful and fun films, it's like a lot of people are just like, yo, like, what are you teaching our kids? Like, what are you teaching the younger people? Like, that they're supposed to be like kind of like less than or whatever. And some people are just like, oh, it's not that deep, but other people are kind of just like, it could actually be pretty detrimental to a lot of people's mentalities.
That's very interesting. I've never thought about it that way. Like when you said, my mind is kind of like, yo, because what we're talking about now is really, really, really small subliminal messages. You know what I'm saying? Very small subliminal messages. That's a way. Subliminal messages are a way to plant an idea in someone without them even knowing it at all.
That's how you brainwash people.
Literally.
Not to get too conspiracy or whatever.
Like my main thing, and I don't know if this is a problem or not, but one thing I mainly see in like the representation, specifically when it comes to, you know, African Americans in Disney and Pixar films too, is it doesn't really open up a broader perspective on what African Americans can do. Like Princess and the Frog, you know, you had, you know, Tiana?
Yeah,
Tiana?
I think so.
Okay, Tiana, you know, working her way up. She wants to be a singer, jazz, you know, a good story. And then they put like some voodoo in there with the voodoo guy and stuff. And I'm a Christian, but I love that character. Man. He's a great Shadow Man is a great character, bro. And then even Soul, you know, your black guy.
His girlfriend's on the I'm sorry.
We should go on a musical rant. But basically, bro, like, and then in Soul, we have this guy, I can't remember his name, but, you know, jazz musician, and he's working his way up. But, I mean, those are good stories, but if you really think about it, it's like, in a way, when you think of black, you think of jazz, you think of this, you think of singing, which is good, but there's other parts of black culture that the films don't explore because they just jump straight to what everyone else sees black people doing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's necessarily, like, a terrible thing, but it's just something just to look at. It's just like
let's think about this. Like,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why, bro, when I'm telling you right now, I saw, this isn't a Pixar film, but it still is under Disney because, you know, they're like an empire and eventually going to take over the world if they haven't already. But Black Panther, I saw that opening night with my oldest brother, and, you know, him and I are, how you say, very racially aware. You know, not in an overdoing sense, but like we're aware of who we are and where we come from. But like we saw opening night, Dolby Cinema, like the best sound quality, all that sort of stuff. We was like, we bought it in advance. Like this is gonna be an experience. And like, bro, I'm telling you, that movie was like just I don't know how else to describe it other than like an experience. Like that junk was cinematic. Like it was life changing for me when I saw T'Challa walk out of that you know, Wakandan helicarrier or whatever they call it, and like step into Warrior Falls, and the camera pans up and you see like just the whole like nation on like this waterfall, all like doing these chants. Like, bro, the jump was beautiful, and like I felt like I was stepping out of what was before and looking up at my culture, like looking up at my people, and looking at its beauty for the first time, because like you don't see that sort of representation and that sort of beautiful light on film like almost at all. That's why everybody like says like it's such a good film. Like some people are just like, oh, it's overhyped or whatever. Like, listen, real quick, I feel like I have to say this, like, as a Black Panther movie, like people was like, oh, I wanted the Black Panther from Civil War or whatever. Like, you know, he was like ruthless and had all that. Like, that's not the type of film that was. Like, yes, Black Panther's a warrior, but he's also a king, and he also has a culture to maintain. And if anything, I feel like it was more of a Wakanda movie than it was a Black Panther movie. And like, so if you want to judge it by that sense, sure, it was like not the best Black Panther film, but it was a beautiful, amazing Wakandan film. And I loved it. It's one of my favorites to this day. And like, that's why it was so important, because the representation was so on point. Like I felt like even the way that like some of them like would laugh. She was like this one lady was like, hey, hey, hey. Like I'm just, I feel like that's my auntie, bro. Like literally, like I felt like I was at home because it felt real to me. And we're kind of running low on time, so we'll begin to wrap up. There is even more stuff that we kind of wanted to get into with this, but like I'm glad that we centered here.
Oh, absolutely.
But man, like representation is so important in how we see ourselves, because after I saw that movie, like I felt powerful, bro. Like I was just like, man, like my culture is beautiful and I'm not gonna hide that anymore. Like obviously, like I don't speak fluent Creole. Like I'm Haitian and like I don't speak fluent Creole, but like I started like wanting to ask more questions to my parents, like, hey, like, you know, what is this? Like, what does this mean? Like, you know, can we like maybe eat this today or whatever? Like, you know, just being more in tune with like who I am, because that's how God made us. He made us to, you know, in certain cultures, and he made us to be from certain places, and like that's important to our background so that we can begin to relate to people. But when we have these backhanded compliments and we have this misrepresentation all over the media and stuff, like it's detrimental to us and it's detrimental to our identities. So, you know, that's kind of it wrapping up for me. I mean, is there anything else that you might want to add?
I don't know. I just kind of feel led to say, like, if you're someone that has like a creative piece to create, or you have something that you want to make, but you've kind of been scared of like, wow, I don't know, this seems like this would break stereotypes, or this seems really uncomfortable, or I don't know, I'm a certain type of race, I don't know how people would feel about that. Go forward with that project. You know what I'm saying? Go forward with that dream. You know what I'm saying? Because all it's going to do, it's going to mold the future for the future generation, and it's going to inspire other people to be like, wow, they did this and they're this color and they still did that. I'm going to do that.
Right.
I don't know why I felt led to say that, but
that was what I was thinking too. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions either. If you don't know too much about a certain culture that you maybe want to represent, like cross that threshold, like bridge that gap, because that's what we need if we're truly going to be able to empower our generation and the generations to come. Like we have to come together and be strong in our identities. So wow, like this is man, this was a good discussion. I really like this one.
I'm really glad it had me, like, for this, I reflected back on some backhanded compliments that I gave, and some things that I know small, like, and I'm gonna wrap up this like small thing too, like, you know, being saved, it's a lot different being saved in the church and coming to God looking for a relationship than being in the world. In the world, you know, talking to a lot of people, just people I had no business talking to, man, you know. And then when I came to church, you know, not this church, not Faith, but just when God brought me back to where I need to be with him, I started to, like, you know, meet different people, meet different young women, and I was just like, wow, like, you're a woman and you love God and you love this. Part of it was like excitement, but I'm thinking back on it and I was like, wait, was I really that surprised? So it just goes to say this too, like, don't let your experiences determine more stereotypes of other people.
Right.
If you are the type of person that, let's say you've been in, let's say you're a girl and you've been in a bunch of like relationships with Caucasian guys, and every single time like it's been a bad experience, do not let that determine how you feel about somebody else in the future. Like, oh, he's this, he's that, and that happened, I'm never doing that again. Because then you start to not only have backhanded compliments, but in a way you're kind of developing like a hatred and like this resentment towards an entire group of people. And you never know how God's gonna move. So
absolutely, like, be intentional with the things that you say. Like I said, sometimes like we have good intentions and like want to uplift people, but like it's like when people would tell me like, oh, like, you're my best black friend. Like, bro, don't tell me that. Just say either I'm your best friend or like we're just regular friends. Like, don't, like, cause like, bro, like why do I have to be the best black friend? Like that's like getting second place. It's like you're the first loser, you know, like, bro, like stuff like that. It's like we have to think, and I'll wrap it up here. We have to think about what we're saying and how it can be taken by others. Because we obviously know that we live in a world that can get easily offended, and not like we don't necessarily want to play into that, but we also want to like be careful, you know, and like make sure we're mindful of people's feelings and make sure we're mindful of just like how we treat people and make sure we're not degrading them. So with that being said, we hope you enjoyed this episode of MPower. You already know what this is. We're going to keep them coming. We love y'all. We signing off till next time. Love you guys.
Love you.
We hope you guys enjoyed that video, and we have a lot more content coming your way.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and tune in every Saturday at 7 a.m. on whatever listening platform you may be listening to for a new episode of MPower.
Catch you guys later.
That works. That works.